Hey guys. Okay, so this video is going to be for those of you who are experiencing extreme emotions and or extreme circumstances. And this video is also going to help you understand the tie between when you're having difficulty manifesting a specific person and how that actually the block that you need to sort out for that situation is the same as the block for money. So, what typically happens, and you may be experiencing this too, comment below if you are, is when something is going down with your specific person situation, it actually gets reflected in the rest of your life. Lack starts showing up in other areas of your life. So, this is going to help you understand the core cause for that, and we're going to help you work through it. I have a few notes here. So, okay, we're going to go over why you're having trouble manifesting your specific person and money. So, make sure you stick around until the end so that you understand how all of this coincides. And I'm going to help you uncover the specific belief that is at the core of this. No matter who you are, it's the same belief, but that's not going to help you unless if you are able to understand for yourself what this means for you and how it's affecting you personally. So part of what I'm going to do in this video after we talk about this belief is I'm going to help you understand how to root it up for yourself so that you can see it from your own perspective, how you're holding this belief and how it's affecting you. Okay? All right. So let's see here. Okay, extreme emotions. So if you are having, let me just start here. There's a lot of information out there on how to manifest a specific person, how to manifest money, different techniques and stuff. But if you're finding yourself continually trying to implement techniques and nothing seems to be working, if you're finding yourself, like no matter what you do, there's like some invisible barrier where you just keep doubting it and you just keep feeling like the needle isn't moving and nothing is happening and why isn't it working? The problem is not whether or not anything is happening. The problem is your perspective on whether or not it's happening or not. The problem is at the level of belief. So, when you actually are having, like, you can do techniques and it can help you move a belief. And sometimes this can be temporary and sometimes this can be permanent. But for a person who is really, really looking to next level, it's like you're going to have to do more than just a superficial band aid to make something happen. So there's like levels where you can work with your beliefs, where you can put a band-aid and do affirmations and maybe make something work for a little bit. But if you've done that to a superficial degree and you haven't really got to the foundation or the root cause, if you haven't really changed the way that you see and view and experience reality at the core, you're going to want more. And you're going to have to challenge yourself a bit more to change your beliefs deeper on another level than before. And so if you've gone for the next level and everything came down, like I had somebody who commented on my YouTube and they were like, when I started trying to manifest the perfect life, everything went to shit. And I'm like, yeah, that's what we're going to talk about here. It doesn't, and see, you can think that this reflects like, oh my gosh, I've done something wrong, something's wrong with me. No, it's pointing to a belief. And let me tell you what that is. So if you're dealing with an unrequited love situation to begin with, that in itself tells you that to a large degree, in general in life, you don't believe in love. You don't believe that love is easily obtained or freely given. You don't believe that love is natural and matter of course. in your belief system, there is a lack of love. And that's why you're so focused on it as, oh my God, I want this thing because, of course, this thing is so rare and hard to find. Oh my God, I want this thing because, wow, I've never had that thing before. That thing is so amazing. That's like, wow, you're putting it on a pedestal because there's a lack of belief in love, which is essentially a belief in lack, and it translates to other areas of your life. It tends to. That's not every single situation, but I have seen that in the majority of situations, that the lack that you're experiencing in the specific person area will start to translate in other areas too. And so here's what that looks like. Now, in the manifesting community, we understand that you are the operant power. Everything comes from you. You are the only God of your reality, and you're projecting the hologram of reality onto the screen of space. So everything is you pushed out. Everyone is you pushed out. Everyone is just an animation of you. So, for example, I'm going to bring the dolls out again because this is such a good example. Here's our doll, okay? The people outside of you, they are projections of your belief systems, of your consciousness, of your awareness, of what you are aware of being, of what you think other people are, and how you think that they are going to interact with you and think about you and feel about you and do with you. Okay, so you project your ideas of what you think other people think onto them, and then you animate them. They are animated accordingly to that. So if you believe that someone is going to be a certain way, they're going to be a certain way. You can change the way that someone behaves with you by, no matter what they're doing, you look at them and you say, this is what you're going to do. No matter what they say, this is what you're going to do. This is what you're going to do. That's what you're going to do. You've done this before. You've literally had people in front of you where they're saying whatever they're saying. I don't care if it was a child, your own child. I don't care if it was someone else, your mom, the clerk at the store. And they're like, blah, 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 this, that. And you're like, yeah, this is how it's going to go down in your head. You don't even have to tell them. And then voila, it happens that way. I've done that before. But if you have a belief that is not working in your favor, that tool and that trick is not going to work because you're not actually believing in what you're thinking. You're not actually believing in what you're saying. So as a manifester, we have there's inherently this idea of separation that plays out, where you think, okay, like I'm essentially all alone in the world and I have to make adjustments to the world to make it work for me because it's not already working for me. It's working against me. So how do I make the world work for me? So you're inherently coming from this idea of separation, which you were before anyway, but now you're still doing it. So as you're manifesting people and things, you might be able to make it work in your favor, at least sometimes, but you're still coming from this separation mindset where you don't believe that the universe is on your side and you don't really believe that you're one with everything. So you're fighting against everything, trying to make it work for you because you don't inherently believe that. You're trying to work against your own belief system, an inherent belief system. And like I said, you can work with yourself and try to drown out that inherent underlying belief system in a way for a time with certain people, but it's going to catch up with you, especially when you say there's more and I want to level up to more. Inevitably, whatever you truly believe, that's what's going to be shown to you. So when you're having extreme emotions and extreme situations in your life, it's going to be playing this record in your head. Whatever you're telling yourself, whatever you're feeling about reality, whatever those words are, that's the negative belief system that is playing out. So you probably believe something like, and I'm gonna sum it up for you in a way that's easier, but like this belief system can play out like, oh, well, let's see, nobody really Nobody's really on my side. Nobody really cares about me. Nobody really loves me. People leave me anyway. Like, there's nothing that I can do to, people are just all out for themselves, like, however that plays out. But inherently, the belief is that people don't really truly care about my feelings, and I don't really truly care about theirs. And maybe you can say, okay, I really care about their feelings, but when you're going for these higher levels of connection and oneness and abundance and love in the universe, that's all this is. You're going for more. You want more. You want to go deeper. You want to be richer, more abundant, more. There's more to this than the superficial layers that we've been playing with. So if you have been experiencing this in your surroundings, you have also, like, you've been projecting it. So you have to see where the superficiality has been occurring within you because this is all the only perspective you've ever known. It's not your fault. But at the same time, you can see where there is space for one to operate from a sense of love and connection and trust, oneness with what is around you and who is around you, versus trying to get by in the world and hoping to make connections along your way, hoping that connections will happen, right? You have to change your idea from trying to make it in the world that you're disconnected with to this. It has to be, oh, this oneness perspective. Everything, the foundation of everything that I do and the foundation of everything that everyone else is doing is fundamentally coming from this connection that we have. You have to believe that the people outside of you inherently care and want to connect. And you have to know that you do too. This is why you get out of bed in the morning, because you're so driven by these relationships that you have, that you are supported, you are connected, and other people are connected to you. You have these meaningful relationships and ties and bonds in your life. And this is what we're living for, because really, this is what we're living for. We're living for joy. We're living to, live a life that we want to live. We're living for to be satisfied and to explore reality. But the reason why we have so many relationships and connections and why everything is so based, heavily on that in this life is because that connection is so important. This is how you connect with yourself, through others, through reflections. And so what if you saw how disconnected that you have felt in your life? And what if you saw how you could have and can go about life differently, interpreting your relationships and your bonds and other people differently? What if the first thing that you lead with that's on your mind naturally is making that connection, that first of all, the assumption that those connections are inherently there, and then projecting that fundamental belief onto everything and everyone else. I don't think this is so hard when you understand that you've just been doing the opposite this entire time. And so you can choose, the paradox is this, you can choose to project separateness and assume that other people don't give a shit and are assholes just as easily. It's not harder to assume the complete opposite. It's not harder to find evidence for either one. It just depends on what you are choosing. And at the end of the day, do you believe that you are creating your reality and that you do have a choice? And so in that case, stop focusing on the outside world and circumstances as if they're animating themselves, because they're really not. If you can transcend your thoughts, your ego, that's how you transcend your circumstances, by understanding that there are none outside of what you decide. I know that this might not be something that you can just, do right now just because I said it. So let me, if you want to do this, but you don't really know how, I'm going to go into a little bit more on how you can reach this. So first of all, when you're having a extremely emotional moment where you're not feeling good, and there may be a moment of suffering, or there may be a moment of spiraling, and you're like, here's what I want you to do. That's a big opportunity, those moments. Okay. So use the opportunity, use it as an opportunity. So first, become aware that whatever it is that you're thinking in that moment is literally telling you exactly the block or negative belief that you are repeating to yourself that is perpetuating the negative circumstances. Okay. So that's number one, just becoming aware. Getting information out of this moment instead of identifying with the information. That's number one. Now, number two is when you hear in your mind the negative belief that you are saying, I don't know if it's like nobody cares, or and something that means that you're not worthy, or something that means, I think like no matter what, in these situations, there's always going to be some projection about the other people in your environment, like not caring about you for some reason, right? So that is going to have to do with self-concept, but it also has just as much to do with what you are painting onto the other in your world, okay? And the idea is to change both. So whatever the belief is, there's an equal and opposite. Now, when you're in the midst of this and your intention is to listen to the belief, identify it, and care about it so that you can find the equal and opposite, it's easier to do when this is your goal, rather than just being in the thick of, oh my gosh, we're going to cry over this, we're going to be upset over this, but to what end, right? So you understand that we're going through a process here of seeing what the negative belief is, and we're going to flip it and turn it around. This is not, don't make the job like, oh, we're going to turn it around so we can get what we want. No. Make it about being aware and really caring about what the truth is, and caring about what is going on here so that you can understand. If you make that your goal, this whole process is going to be a lot easier. So whenever you find whatever that belief is, the negative belief, it could be hard to hear at first because you've been telling yourself this for a long time and you believe it's true. That's what you're practicing. That's what you've been practicing. So it could be completely invisible to you because you're like, oh yeah, everybody's an asshole. Pfft, that's no different than yesterday and the day before, right? So you have to put yourself in a mindset where you're aware enough where you can actually hear what you're saying, what the ego is saying, so that you can hear and identify the nonsense, so you can hear and identify the negative belief. All right, so when that happens, you have to see it for what it is and decide that it's a lie. When you do that, you will be able to find the opposite and practice the opposite, and you will be able to feel into that reality that has been missing for you, and it's going to feel really fucking good. This is what Neville is talking about with living from the end and feeling the end. When you can actually get past or change this negative belief that's been keeping you from feeling it real and experiencing that reality, finally, you're going to make what I call good contact. You're going to be able to feel into it and entertain it fully, like never before. When you can do that, and when you make that good contact, like I say, it is going to be done. It's that simple, because now you've actually identified the negative belief and changed it and claimed the opposite. That's all you needed to do. It's a done deal. So your negative emotion was not really the problem. It was just pointing you to what the problem really was. And now that you have figured that out, once you change this belief, no matter what it is that needs to change for you to have what you want, it's going to change. And the best part is you're going to know it. You're going to know whatever this thing is, it cannot last. It cannot continue. It's going to change. And you're not going to be worried about it on your way to it. The biggest thing that helps with achieving states of awareness where you can see your belief systems and change them is honing awareness, honing the ability to see the ego for what it is, something separate from you and not you, the ability to look at the conversations in your head, the words, the beliefs, the stories, the judgments, look at the emotions, but not be identified with them. When you're identified with thoughts, feelings, emotions, ego, story, you don't have the opportunity to change them, because to you, they're just solidly real and there's nothing you can do about it. So this is why in my community called SuperLife, we do focus a lot on teaching you guys how to come into a state of presence so that you can become aware of and look at words, thoughts, emotions, your state, your belief system that you're identifying with, and no longer identify with it, but have the ability to choose. People ask me all the time, how do I transcend these feelings, these emotions, this circumstance? And if you can transcend the circumstances in your mind as you're thinking of them, it's the same thing as being able to transcend circumstances out there, because this is what manifests everything else. And when you get good at this, you'll be able to do it deliberately. And you will be in a state of knowing. You will know, oh, well, now I know that's going to change because I don't believe in that reality. And it cannot be. It can no longer be if I'm not supporting it and believing in it. So another thing that I always, no matter what, one thing that I know helps, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, no matter what state, no matter what reality that you're in, something that really, really helps help you gain awareness or like raise your level of consciousness is following your joy, which is a language that not many people speak. Not many people are very familiar with what it really means to follow your joy, to the point that when you hear it, you're like, oh yeah, that, whatever. Well, it's one of the things that never fails. If you're not doing it, then you're suffering. And if you are doing it, you know exactly what I'm saying, because it's magic, it's miracles, and it works and transforms everything. So even if you're having trouble with the idea of presence, and even if you're showing up in the community and you're like, oh my God, it's still not working, I don't get it, learning how to follow your joy is going to put you in a higher state of awareness where you're just going to be shown, you're just going to realize the things that you need to realize in order to get what you want and in order to manifest what you want to manifest. It's just going to happen as a matter of course. So today in my community called SuperLife, we're actually doing a one-day course on how to follow your joy, because not only is it this important, but it just seems like a lot of people don't know what this is at all. So if you're suffering with extreme emotions and situations, circumstances, feelings, show up. Show up. I get a lot of people who ask questions. They want help. They ask, oh my God, what do I do? I'm spiraling. Oh my God, oh my God. You're not showing up. You're not showing up to the lives. You're not even asking questions. You're not even showing up. Show up. We're doing a one-day course on how to follow your joy, and it's going to help you to do everything that I talked about in this video. Bring your questions. I love you guys. That link's in the description below or in the comment below. Comment, let me know how you like the video. Click like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next live.